So guys, this is the key to Renault's brand new MPV. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing to you the Renault Triber. What is your Tribe? Well, as you can see, it has borrowed heavily from its big brother, the Koleos, the Duster, and of course, the Kadjar. Renault have employed that styling that has made that particular brand become so emotive. The design aspect is so emotive, so sportish, and of course gives this car that butch look. As you can see here, the big diamond emblem that denotes the Renault brand actually comes out very strong on the V designed grille, and of course on the lower lip of this particular car is raised to have a better entry point in as far as going off-road is concerned. We're going to do that later on. Let's get inside and see what the car is made of, and of course we're going to be joined by Mr. Mwirigi, who's going to give us a lowdown on the tech aspect, on the flexibility aspect of the first and second row seating, and of course drive it all the way and give you a lowdown of how the Triber feels. Stay tuned. So step inside the cabin of the Renault Triber, and I can tell you Renault have done so much to ensure that this particular car is packaged in such a way that it has a lot of practicality. It is based on the CMFA platform that's been co-designed by Renault and Nissan for the Alliance, and I can tell you this particular platform is modular. This is the same chassis that you probably find on the Quid and on the Datsun Go Plus. Remember, this dashboard sits far away from the passenger to create an illusion of space and airiness. And you can see here from the design perspective of this dashboard, it's a one slab type of design. It's edgy towards the edges, and of course you do have some certain trim level that makes it look very chic, very premium. As you can see, this is supposed to emulate a stainless steel except, but it is just, you know, a chrome type of plastic. As you can see, you have quadratic air vents that are strewn across the cabin, including at the back, and of course you do have space for your, it could be a flask, could be anything that you can want to store, and of course you do have a glove box, as you can see. But moving over to the center console, as you can see here, the screen is now bigger. This, I believe, is a 12-inch multi-touch information display that Mwirigi will give us a lowdown on what it has. But basically it controls the audio system. You can connect your telephone, you can stream music, and of course you can tune into the various stations that are around the country. Obviously right below it you do have climate control. It's not dual zone, but it works effectively well. The number of vents in this particular cabin is unbelievable. Remember, this is a 7-seater, so the vents are spread all over to the back seat, and the passengers at the back can enjoy the cool cabin of the Renault Triber. And obviously you do have plenty of cubby holes and spaces, because practicality is the name of the game when you're employing on an MPV sort of vehicle. If you know how to drive a manual car, then this is the one for you. So it's a 5-speed manual transmission, and of course we'll have a derivative for the automatic version coming soon. Now moving over to the instrument pinnacle, it's not your traditional needle and dial system, but basically it's a series of graphics with the Renault blue hue on it. And of course on the right hand side you do have color coded LED lights that actually simulate the revving of the engine, and of course the speedometer, and in between them you do have a multi-information display that gives you the different aspects of the vehicle, including what door is open, fuel capacity, fuel range, and of course the mileage that you're accruing as you drive across. And one thing that I like about this particular car, it has start-stop technology. Well, it doesn't have the active one with the mild hybrid, but I'm sure it's something that Renault are actually considering for this particular vehicle. Legroom, headroom, fantastic. As you can see, I'm tall enough and I have plenty of space. I do have plenty of legroom as well, and of course the steering wheel is adjustable based on your height, so, and you can only do tilt but not telescopic. But again, the space on this car is amazing. For that and much more, we need to go and find out how practical is this particular car on the second and third row, and for that we're going to join Mr. Mwirigi, who's a resident comfort and seating expert, and of course we'll give you much more detail about how the rear seat is very flexible, and of course the multi-information system courtesy of Cars with Big Boy Trail.
Looking at the interior of this car, there's actually quite a lot of technology they've done inside here. There's a cockpit that Trevor had mentioned that actually has a screen by itself. You have these airplane style switches over here, and then now we have this media nav evolution system, which is a spectacular system, I have to say, because not only does it do the radio, it actually helps you now when it comes to driving technologies. So you're able actually to see what you're doing in terms of driving. This is helping you now to get more fuel efficiency out of the engine. So it's actually showing you how you're doing in terms of acceleration, how you're doing in terms of gear shifts, and how you're anticipating gear shifts. So this the person who's been driving this car so far has gotten a score of 89%. Then on the side, it actually has almost like a toolkit, just letting you know tips on how you can do stuff to save fuel in the car itself. This actually also has a reverse camera and parking sensors that come when you put the car into reverse. And it has cooling boxes actually in the lower gearbox here, and the center console here actually has cooled air that's coming into the system. In addition to AC in the front, like Trevor said, this also has air conditioning on the second and third rows, which are controlled from over here. So let's check into the second row to see how much space this thing has. So coming to the second row of seats, and there's a surprising amount of space at the back over here. There's quite a lot of space for me here. This seat is set to my driving position. I am 5'9" tall, and there's a lot of space for my knees and for my feet under here because the floor is actually pretty flat. You can actually also move the seats forward and back to just create enough space if you need, because this is a 7-seater. There's space at the back. There's lots of space to put stuff inside here and on the side. And like I mentioned earlier, there are actually air conditioning controls because you have vents for the AC in the second row. Let's jump into the third row of this car to see how much more space it has. Coming into the third row, and the first thing that you'll notice is that the second row splits 60 and 40 with this chair flipping and tumbling to allow access. This is only the one on the left because it's the one on the side of the pavement. So here there's actually enough space for an adult in a pinch, and definitely enough for your kids. And please remember that you can actually move this chair to give you more space for the back row or the front. These two chairs at the back can actually also be removed, and this has quite a number of configurations to allow you to put as many people or as much stuff as you want inside this car. So let's check out the boot to see how much you can put inside the Renault Triber. So coming down to the boot, again, that smart key just allows you to have the key in your pocket and press over here and it opens the boot. So you have actually 84 liters of boot capacity available with the 7 seats up, but you can actually pull the seats down and get more space. Well, let's take this on the road and see what it has to offer.
It's a beautiful day out here and we are sampling the Renault Triber. What is your Triber? And that's the code name for this particular car. Well, as I mentioned earlier, it's based on the CMF platform. The CMFA platform has been designed and has been in partnership with Nissan and Renault to build a sturdy and a modular platform that is hardy for these conditions, for our African conditions and emerging markets. So you can imagine the way this particular car is built. It's built for durability, it's built to handle rough terrain and of course give you absolute value for money. So let's start with the Triber, the power. So up front you do have a 1-liter 3-cylinder engine with VVTi, variable valve timing, that enhances efficiency and of course gives you performance. Now it produces exactly 53 kilowatts and 138 newton meters of torque, enough to sound like this. Okay, I know what you're thinking. It sounds like, you know, the 3-wheelers, but it's a 3-cylinder. It's gruff and rough, but still gives you that driver information that you so desire, that driver feel that you want to drive a car that's still peppy and still has that capacity to give you a good fuel consumption figure of around 25 kilometers to the liter, which is not too bad for such a vehicle. And obviously all that power is sent to the front wheels courtesy of a 5-speed manual gearbox, and in other models you'll have an automatic 4MT automatic transmission that makes it very easy for you to drive this car during long distances and of course in the traffic laden streets of Nairobi, which is very, very important. Now, safety is critical in any purchase of any vehicle, and many people are looking into buying a car that is safe for their family. So what has happened is that Renault have employed quite a number of active and passive safety features, such as anti-lock braking system and EBD, to ensure that you remain safe when driving this particular car. But in case all hell breaks loose, then you can rely on the 4 airbags that comes as standard, and of course a crumple zone safety rating that is very good for this car in this class. The question is this car as capable and can it outshine the rivals? We're talking about the Toyota Rush and the Suzuki Ertiga. It's time to take it off-road, and of course, before we do that, let's talk about the suspension. Now up front you do have McPherson struts as standard, and at the back you do have a torsion beam with stabilizer links that allows this car to be very steady and comfortable on the highway, and of course allows you to have good ground clearance when you're going off-road. Speaking of off-road, we're joined Mr. Mwirigi. He's going to give us a lowdown on how the off-road of this particular car is. Can it do some bundu bashing? We know it's not a 4x4, but it has good ground clearance. So stay tuned. Cars with Big Boy Trev.
So this is not an off-road vehicle by any stretch of the imagination, but the suspension has been raised, so it should allow you to go off the beaten track. This is exactly what we've done just now. We've come to a bit of a tough track. So it's not as tough as a proper off-road track, but it's just tough enough to test whether this car's chassis, whether the platform is strong enough to handle a bit of a rough road. This, of course, as Trevor said, is a CMF A platform that's usually done with a quid. And we just want to see if it's strong enough to handle some of these uneven road surfaces that you might find when you turn off the tarmac. Now, so far, I have to say it's doing a pretty good job. And one of the advantages that it has is that it has a manual. So although it has that small 1-liter 3-cylinder engine, it actually allows you to put the power when you need it. So you're in full control of the power, and that's a really good thing so far. Suspension is actually pretty good. So I would say, yes, if you want to take this off the tarmac, but not necessarily off-road, you can possibly just turn this off the road a bit and go over a bit of a Maram track if you find that that's necessary on the trip to where you're going. So let's check out value for money.
So guys, we've tested extensively the Renault Triber, and I can tell you, if you are planning to buy a 7-seater that is very practical, affordable and very fuel efficient, then look no further. But Mr. Mwirigi, how much does this car cost?
Imagine for a 7-seat car, prices for this start at 1.6 million shillings. There are actually very many levels that you can look at, so you need to come down to Kaitano, Kenya on Mombasa Road, have a look at the car.
Who are the key rivals of this particular car?
Well, this is a Mini-MPV, but in terms of being an MPV, you're looking at the Suzuki Ertiga and the Toyota Rush being 7-seat multi-purpose vehicles in our market.
So this particular car comes with a 3-year, 100,000 kilometer warranty, whichever comes first, and you can rely on Kaitano Kenya's extensive network and of course servicing and maintenance courtesy of this great company. But Mr. Mwirigi, we know COVID is affecting the economy. Not many people can afford to buy a car at list price. What are the different options available to buy this Triber?
Well, what they told us is that they are premium mobility solutions provider, and what this means is that they're offering leasing and other services to make it very interesting for a small business owner to own this car. So for this car, you would be making a monthly payment of 48,000 shillings, and that would cover leasing of this vehicle.
Wow, and any asset financing options as well?
Well, asset financing is available in partnership with your bank. You need to come down here, talk to the guys at Renault Kenya, at Kaitano, and then talk to your bank, and between the two of you guys, you'll be able to work something out.
Well, that's it, guys. You've heard it from the horse's mouth. This is the most affordable vehicle in the market right now as an MPV, and we are happy to have tested it. That's it, guys. Thank you so much for joining us on Cars with Big Boy Trev, Season 4. We are happy to be here and happy to be back. If you have any questions, comments, or queries, don't hesitate to write to us at some of the social media handles below, and we'll get back to you next week. Well, signing out, this is Big Boy Trev.
This is Mwirigi. Drive safe
and be safe.